The James Show Podcast.
Hey, coming up in a half hour from right now, I'm going to be giving away a pair of tickets to see the Texas Rangers. They got a game this Saturday. I don't know, sometimes when I give tickets out, you're like, well, I can't go, I got to work. Well, this is actually a weekend game, so these are extra special tickets. So don't go anywhere. We're going to, even if you can't win the tickets, you can play along in your car or however you're listening right now. But a terrible story right now. Another ICE agent has been shot by an illegal. Now, I famously made a prediction last week that I'm not very happy about that says unless we start dropping the hammer on all these ICE attacks, it's going to keep escalating until an ICE agent dies. Now, I don't think this proves my theory because I'm not even sure if the guy who shot him knew it was an ICE agent. It might be. But listen, I cut out the whole context because Kristi Noem did the press conference, and it wasn't too far before the James Show started. So this is sort of fresh information that you're probably hearing for the first time from me. But you know, she's the Secretary of Homeland Security, and she gave sort of a summary of it. I haven't even really got a chance to dive in it more than what she said right before the show.
Listen, our officer was off duty on Saturday evening when him and his friend were attacked. They were attacked by two individuals that were set on robbing them, and thankfully he had his service weapon with him and was able to defend himself and his friend and injured one of those individuals that was trying to do them harm. His quick action speaks to his tenacity and his excellence in training and skill, and because of that, one of the perpetrators was wounded in this interaction and was incarcerated when he came in to get medical treatment. One of the suspected attackers, the one that was injured, his name is Miguel Francisco Mora Nunez, a Dominican national that was entering into this country illegally back in 2023. He was then released back into this country by the Biden administration. Miguel Francisco Mora Nunez has a rap sheet that is a mile long. He was arrested. He was charged with grand larceny and also assault. The state of Massachusetts has an active warrant out for him for armed robbery with a firearm. He also has many other charges against him, such as kidnapping and witness intimidation. There's absolutely zero reason that someone who is scum of the earth like this should be running loose on the streets of New York City. He was arrested 4 different times in New York City, and because of the mayor's policies and sanctuary city policies, was released back to do harm to people and to individuals living in this city. Make no mistake, this officer is in the hospital today fighting for his life because of the policies of the mayor of this city and the city council and the people that were in charge of keeping the public safe. They refused to do so, and now we have the situation on our hand where someone who has dedicated their lives to protecting the public is now fighting for his own.
You know, I have a feeling that if this was helping the narrative at any point, this would be a huge story because this doesn't happen in a vacuum. We had the Dallas ICE agent that went up to Oklahoma and he got shot by the illegal immigrant he was trying to take into custody. And that was just last week. 2 weeks ago, we had the attack in the Alvarado facility and the attack at the McAllen facility where 3 people were shot there. One was shot in the neck in Alvarado. And so we have an established pattern, and it's a coincidence or whatever. This is a pattern. And this is a pattern that not only does it not fit the narrative, not only does it go counter to the narrative, it makes people that are pushed to the narrative look insane. Because you're being told by people like the Ana Navarros of the world and other people in the media that the ICE agents are conducting a reign of terror over the Latino community. Meanwhile, is anyone in the Latino community being shot by ICE agents? Or are they doing all the shooting? Are the ICE agents are the ones that are being shot at? Now, I know you can tell, technically speaking, in this scenario, that the ICE agent did shoot at somebody, but only after he had been shot in the face and he was shooting in self-defense. This is ridiculous. Because you know something else when I was browsing through the headlines? Someone was making some hay on some news channel that's not here in North Texas, but they were like, someone had tied a noose to a scaffolding, and that's a racial hate crime. It's like, hang on a second. Why would someone tie a noose on a scaffolding? How would that be a racial hate crime? What are you talking about here? And so there's a construction site in Tennessee. Nissan Stadium's under construction. And it turns out that, sometimes in the construction business, if you're going to use a rope to pick up something and you want to tie a knot that's really stable, you tie a knot that's similar to a noose, but it actually has a practical purpose. And it's not even the same type of rope you would use. It's not like any human being has ever been lynched in such a fashion. And just because it kind of half resembled a noose to people who aren't familiar with knots or construction zones, this made news. It was written up by the Tennessean, got picked up by Yahoo News, got picked up. Go Google it. It's all over the place. So I have a big problem with this because the media seems to be really, really concerned about violence or hatred if it goes one way. And if the violence or hatred goes another way, not only is it not news, we just pretend like it doesn't even happen. We don't even acknowledge it, much less put it in the headline or in the body of the story. And it's ridiculous. So all I'm asking for here is, can we just have one rule that we all follow and we follow it religiously? Either violence between ICE and illegal immigrants is news or it's not news. Either things that are considered to be perceived to be racist are news or they're not news. Because if it's only one way, now you're exploiting the suffering of illegal immigrants and their fear. You're stoking fear in the illegal immigrant community for things that just aren't true. And conversely, your reporting, if it were honest, would have the general public being more sympathetic toward ICE agents and what they're going through and the violence they are facing. Maybe there wouldn't be a big rush to question, why are they wearing masks? Can you believe they're wearing masks? They're just like Nazis. That's what Nazis would do. Wear masks. Stop it. The hyperbole is getting people killed. The hyperbole is getting people shot. The hyperbole is making the situation unsafe for both ICE agents and the illegal immigrants they're trying to take into custody. Can we all tap the brakes or at least be somewhat fair in our reporting? How many ICE agents have to get shot or shot at before the news will be sympathetic toward the ICE agent? I do see a wave of violence. I do see who's living under a reign of terror. It's the ICE agents. They're on. Look, here's a good way. Here's just off the top of my head. Here's some advice. If you want to encourage ICE agents to stop wearing masks, here's what you can do. Stop shooting at them. This should be one of the biggest stories on TV. I mean, it's going to be big on talk radio, but MSNBC's not mentioning it. Fox News is bringing it up every once in a while. But here we are, another one shot at. And there's all kinds of little side lessons to be learned here too. Thank goodness he's one of the rare people in New York City that's actually carrying a gun, or he'd be dead by now. So that's beautiful. What a great argument for gun control, or the absence of gun control, eliminating gun control. This is a good reminder. If you're allowed to carry a weapon, I highly recommend you carry it, especially if you're an ICE agent. But look, we're going to learn more about this story. I don't even know if the two illegal immigrants knew that they were shooting at an ICE officer, knew that they were trying to rob an ICE officer. I don't know that yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that they did know. But whether we did or didn't, how many is this going to take? How many times they have to be shot at before the news is sympathetic to their plight and stops calling them the Gestapo and Nazis and literally Hitler? It's terrible. It's not fair. You're talking about other human beings. Talk about you're the party of empathy. No, you're not. You have no empathy toward ICE agents. You have no empathy toward police officers who are just enforcing the very reasonable immigration laws as they're written. Another ICE agent shot. This was by a pair of illegal immigrants in good old New York City.
New York City!
We don't know if they knew it was an ICE agent they were shooting or if it's just a cosmic injustice here. We have a guy who was released 5 times. He was picked up by border officials, and then 4 times he had been in custody for committing different crimes. And I think one was in Boston and a few in New York City. So this is a guy that had no business being in the country in the first place. And then once he was in the country, he had no business being let back out on the streets after the parade of crimes that this guy has committed. So we have this lackadaisical approach to enforcing our laws, whether it's immigration laws or laws against theft, property crime, or even violence here, because the guy was hitting for cycle. He's running out of laws to break. He's probably jaywalking while he did it. But this illegal immigrant should not have been on our streets for both the illegal immigration status that he was walking around with the entire time for the last couple of years, or the multiple times police had taken him in. You can't blame cops for this. They're doing their job. They catch the bad guy. They put him behind bars, and then some prosecutor, some squish judge lets him out. And we're paying the price for it. Americans are paying the price for these terrible policies. This is why, if you're only casually interested in politics, I invite you to jump in with both feet. When people are like, well, what can we do? It's like, well, you know what? I know it doesn't sound cool or fun, but a lot of these improvements are going to come from common people getting involved in political causes more so than you already are. You can't just donate to a cause. You can't just donate to a candidate. You can't just share some social media post and expect real change. We need real people to start getting involved here, because if you had a different judge that wasn't a squish when it came to violent criminals, especially illegal immigrants, then this guy wouldn't have got shot in the face. If you had a president and a presidential administration that actually enforced laws that they're written on the books and didn't just with the wave of his hand say, oh, we're not going to enforce these laws, this guy wouldn't have gotten shot in the face. If you had voters out there who pressed their city leaders to not be a sanctuary city, then when he did get picked up, even if he didn't go through the full judicial process and be adjudicated for his crimes, he could have been deported by now. But you have to fall all over yourself with like 8 different terrible angles from terrible policies, from terrible voters who support terrible ideologies. And it ends up with real people, good people getting shot in the face. This guy's an ICE agent. Hunter Biden did an interview over the weekend. It's long. I haven't heard the whole thing, but I heard a lot. And you'll be hearing more of this probably on tomorrow's show. But the part where he was talking about the subject I'm bringing to you right now, illegal immigration, don't worry. I bleeped it. But here he is trying to make the case that illegals aren't the bad guys. And who allowed this guy to do an interview? I mean, I don't know if anyone can stop him, but if you're on his team, wouldn't you tell him, bro, you are never, ever doing another public interview? Because I'm pretty sure he's probably on crack while he's doing this interview. You think he's 100% sober doing this? Listen to this. This was this weekend.
For someone, am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. You. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your garden? Who do you think is here by the sheer just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance. And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the criminals?
Yeah, the ones shooting ICE officers in the face, I think we would all agree they're criminals, right? What is this weird servant thing that they have going on? Who do you think does your garden? I tell you who does my garden. I do. Maybe I make the kids water the plants every once in a while. I don't have a list of servants. Who do you think cooks your food? Who do you think? Bro, all right. There are places in America where, strangely enough, and it's weird being there. If you're from Texas, a majority minority state, it's weird being a place that's only white people. Trust me, you're not used to it. It's weird. But I did live for 1 year in a place called Woodward, Oklahoma. I just worked at a tiny radio station. It was the first instance of the James Show ever. That was 20 years ago. But in the entire town of about 20,000 or so people, there was, I think I saw 2 black people there the whole year that I was there. And it was almost all white. So you know who did mow your lawn in Woodward, Oklahoma? It's a big stretch here. White people. Yeah. Who did your gardening? Who washed the dishes? Who cooked your food? You know, it's possible for non-illegal immigrants to do these jobs. What does this come from? Like we would all starve without illegal immigrants? Really? Is that what you think? It's such a weird mindset. And I don't understand why it doesn't get called out as racist. And not that you value highly what Hunter Biden said, but he just said very foully what a lot of people really think. And it's ugly. It's sort of it's almost a benevolent form of racism for the illegal immigrants, but it's malevolent for the natives here. Because they're not just slandering white people. They're slandering black Americans, too. They're slandering Latino Americans, Hispanic Americans. Chicanos is what my grandfather called himself. Well, look, even if it does have to be a brown person that does your dishwashing or gardening or cooking your food, couldn't it at least be a legal one? So it's not even a legit argument to begin with, even if he is telling the truth. But now, it's time to play Dead or Alive. Today's edition is child actors, and today's tickets, Rangers tickets for this Saturday. Thank you, Mr. Jovi. Welcome to Dead or Alive. This is the James Show game show where I'm going to list you 10 celebrities. You have to tell me if they're dead or alive. Today's category, child actors. We're going to start in Irving with Jennifer. You're on WBAP. You ready to play Dead or Alive, Jennifer?
I am.
Okay. Remember, these are all child actors, starting with the Coreys. Corey Feldman, dead or alive?
Hello?
Yeah, Corey Feldman, dead or alive?
Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman is alive.
Yes. The other Corey Haim, dead or alive?
Dead.
Malcolm Jamal Warner from The Cosby Show, dead or alive?
He just passed away today.
No, what a sad story. I was such a big Theo fan. Macaulay Culkin, dead or alive?
Alive.
He is alive.
He's alive.
Well, you're quick on this one. River Phoenix, dead or alive?
He's dead.
Linda Blair from The Exorcist, dead or alive?
She's alive.
And she looks a lot less scary these days.
Yeah.
Brittany Murphy from Clueless and 8 Mile, dead or alive?
Name again is...
Brittany Murphy. She was also in King of the Hill.
Oh, Brittany Murphy. Right? Brittany Murphy?
Brittany Murphy, yes.
Yeah, she's dead.
Gary Coleman from Different Strokes.
Dead.
What you talking about, Willis? Jodie Foster, who was a child actor in Taxi Driver.
She's alive.
She is alive. Man, she's just running the table here. And finally, Haley Joe Osment from Sixth Sense, dead or alive?
Oh, he's alive.
He is alive. Lord. No one's stopping Jennifer. Sorry to all the other nice people on hold. Lisa, Carol, Peter. Did Jennifer just ruin your life and took your tickets? Are you going to the Ranger game this Saturday?
Hope to.
Are you a big fan, or is this for your husband?
Well, he's the bigger fan, but yeah.
You're a fan by proxy? Mm-hmm. You're just a good wife, aren't you? Yeah. Coming home with Ranger tickets for your husband. I'm going to put you on hold. And Garrett will get your information, send you the tickets. Well, that was an easy edition of Dead or Alive. I guess we can roll in right into today's edition of What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time? Jasmine Crockett, queen of the liberal tea.
Beach blonde, bad built butch body, Governor Hot Wheels, and he is a hot ass mess, honey. Queen of the liberal tea. In today's edition, Jasmine Crockett, the congressional representative for the district that I'm sitting in right now in the studios at WBAP, she was addressing the specter of redistricting the maps here in Texas for congressional apportionment. And while I agree with her, there's something very suspicious about deciding, hey, we're going to redraw the maps here in the middle of the decade. Her reasoning is not the same as mine.
Texas is a majority-minority state, and they don't feel comfortable having to go and present their very much racist policies, the policies that racist. People like the Proud Boys are excited about, the people like the Oath Keepers, people like, we saw on January 6th, those guys. So that's what they're going to do. They are going to minimize people of color's voices, and they truly believe that by pushing their white supremacy agenda, they will be able to then secure more Republican seats. I've got news for them. I believe in the people of Texas, and I believe that this may backfire in a really unprecedented way. In fact, I will tell you confidently that there are absolutely Republicans that currently are serving that are concerned as well, and they should be concerned that this may backfire on them as they try to create these seats, because there will be new vulnerabilities. And I promise you, I am going to do everything that I can to make sure that Texans know what is at stake and understand that they are trying to basically put their voices on mute, and it is time to raise the volume on their voices. And so we will work and outwork this gerrymander to make sure that Texas actually shows up and shows out, and Donald Trump is left being the crybaby that he is.
All right. So the idea that there's gerrymandering with the congressional districts, so the political parties won't have as much of a fight, is something that happens on both sides of the aisle. And it happens on both sides of the aisle with the same map. This is one of the uniparty things that kind of drives me nuts, is the fact that even when you look at a map, and it's clearly gerrymandered, I mean, it happens in almost every state. Our state's pretty bad. Louisiana is worse. You should go look at their congressional districts. It's an absolute clown show because we don't have anything nearly as bad as... There's one congressional district in Louisiana that takes not even all of New Orleans. It just takes the really terrible Democrat parts of New Orleans and then follows a little skinny strip up the Mississippi River coastline to go capture the really terrible parts of Baton Rouge. And so these are the two most heavily Democrat areas in the entire state. But when they try and break that district into two districts and have it, kind of meld into the districts around it, not only do the Republicans fight it, but the Democrats fight it too. Because two things, Democrats love having a district that they don't have to spend any money to win. But Republicans love having districts that they don't have to spend any money to win either. And if you actually drew the maps to where they were purple districts instead of stark red and blue, both sides realized that they would actually have to spend money to win those districts. There would be a fight on their hand, and neither one of them want to do it. That's the dirty little secret, is both sides love gerrymandering. They can't gerrymander hard enough. So no, Jasmine, this isn't based on racism. This isn't based on white supremacy. We're not trying to push through a white supremacy agenda. But I do agree. It's quite suspect that they're trying to redraw it in the middle of the decade when the Constitution says they're supposed to do it after the census, and the census is supposed to happen every 10 years at the top of the decade. So, I mean, my sensibilities are kind of in the same direction. But no, the motivation is way off on that one. Well, it's happened again. A woman has accused Donald Trump of sexual assault. This one was a former Sports Illustrated model who, look, maybe if you're trying to make the accusation, you shouldn't include the fact that you were Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend for a few months in 1990. But here it is.
I'm considered number 27. I'm Donald Trump's 27th sexual assault victim. When I was doing Sports Illustrated, that's when he assaulted me. Jeffrey Epstein walked me into his office to be sexually assaulted by him.
Jeffrey Epstein walked me into his office to be sexually assaulted by him. The whole story is she was dating Jeffrey Epstein, and I guess he was just an upstanding, good Christian boy until they came across Donald Trump. Is that believable? And then Jeffrey Epstein takes her in the office, and Trump grabs her top parts and bottom parts, and that's the whole of it. Yeah, look, a handful. And look, that's still sexual assault, and that's terrible, and no woman should have to endure that without proper consent or whatever. But man, the timing on these is so crazy. 1990? That's 35 years ago, which makes me feel old, but shut up. Maybe I am. 35 years, and you just wanted to come out now. Just over the weekend. Thought you'd throw that out there 35 years later. Not before he gets elected for president the first time. Not when he runs for re-election, loses. Not when he runs for election the third time. Not when he has all these other scandals. Not when he has court cases floating over his head. Now, I'm not saying just because a woman waits 35 years that she's not telling the truth, but it is a little suspicious because if this is true, if this really is number 27, then you got to think 27. And all of you guys are outspoken Democrat supporters. What are the odds of that? In a country that's 50-50, could you flip a coin and land on heads 27 times in a row? I bet you can't. Hell, I bet you can't do it 4 times in a row. Much less 27 times. That's a lot. 27. Why now? But that's one of the things that makes the accusations against Bill Clinton so credible. Now, he has, from my count, I kept a list. I made a list 10 years ago doing this. He has 23 ladies that have accused him, and not all of them are Republicans. In fact, it's about a 50-50 shot. It's almost like you did flip a coin. In fact, the numbers kind of bear out and look like that it's even more valid. Because if it was 23 Republicans that were accusing Bill Clinton, I would be skeptical. You would be skeptical. The timing would be skeptical. But like for an example, Kathleen Willey. Not only is she not a political adversary of Bill Clinton, he was working in her White House. Her husband had committed suicide just days later. She was upset and he caught her crying and he cleared the room so it was just them two alone, and he got a little handsy with her. And it was more handsy than this woman described to Trump. She immediately said something about it, lost her job. When he was out of office, she felt it was safe to write a book about it. She did. She wrote a book about it. She did media rounds. Do you believe this for a second? Because even if you don't, I still have people who on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and sometimes emails send me these stories. They're like, here's your God again. This guy you worship so much, terrible person. Nobody who supports this guy should dare call themselves a moral person. Oh, shut up. Shut up. It's absolutely disgusting because y'all have ruined the accusation process with your Kathleen Blasey Fords or Christine Blasey Ford. Remember that against Brett Kavanaugh? With your E. Jean Carroll stories. You know, these false accusation stories, we say that that's a bad thing because then future women won't be believed. This is what we're talking about. You remember how bad the Christine Blasey Ford accusations against Brett Kavanaugh were? Oh, he pushed me onto a bed and then he held me down and kissed me. And then he got off when his friend came in the room. That's the worst you got? Look, a forced kiss is bad, but you don't remember what year it happened? You don't remember what day it happened? You don't remember what month it happened? You don't remember where it happened? Whose house you were in? You know, a little bit of details would be nice, I imagine, if it was something that traumatic in your life. Even if you don't remember the exact date or time, you would at least remember the year. So I hate to be so dismissive of this. I have 2 daughters. I have a sister. I have a mom. I have a lot of female relatives. I have a lot of close female friends. And if anything happened to them, I think it would be awful if they told their story and weren't believed. But this one, it's really hard. You're really stretching people's credulity on that one. All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. Come back. Tomorrow we're going to have an awesome show. We're going to talk about the Texas legislative session. And I think DART's trying to bribe suburbs into giving their funding back. So that exclusive is through the Dallas Express. We'll be talking about that. But in the meantime, if you need more James Show action, catch the parts of the show you missed today. Find the James Show podcast, WBAP.com, WBAP app, or wherever you're listening to podcasts. Just search it up, James Parker, James Show. It'll pop up. Stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next. This has been the James Show on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show podcast.